Hello everyone. So today we have quite an interesting one. We have Michael Demiurgos, Lucifer's brother, who doesn't really get a lot of credit for how powerful he is, and versus the one and mighty SCP-001, the Gate Guardian. Now let's start off with Michael, and then we'll go to the Gate Guardian's feats, and then see who wins and call it a day. Also, if you like SCP content, Marvel, DC, and check out my channel and just like, share, comment, subscribe so you can get more daily dose of this. Michael is Kali under a different belief system. Kali is Chaos Absolute, the destroyer of good and evil. And the concept of good and evil in DC is based upon Chaos and Order, who scale to the multiverse, arguably living above it. So that's really impressive. That's already like tier 0 casually. And sorry, if you need more depth on the DC cosmology, I have a DC cosmology video which you'll see linked at the end, as well as an SCP cosmology which will be linked at the end, so you could just click whichever you want and well, come back and click the second one to watch it to have an idea how strong these verses are. Right, so Chaos and Order, good and evil represents across the entire multiverse the great stretch of whatever bad or good could happen, even on a multiversal destructive scale, good and evil scale to that. So that's why on an abstract level, Michael scales above that. It's very simple. It's implied to be capable of beating Lucifer, and the reason Lucifer lost the war in heaven. People don't really understand that Michael and Lucifer are made to be equals. It's like, if you argue Lucifer is stronger, there's also a good argument for Michael being stronger, which you'll see in this video. To me, I usually just keep them at rivals. Lucifer's hype is just too much. Give my boy Michael credit that he deserves. Sandalphon, bro, every time I hate pronouncing this dude's name. Was afraid of him. Sandalphon is pretty powerful. Alright, he literally mated with Lilith and gave birth to what do they call those creatures? Whatever, they do all scale to the Aleph, which gave you the entire multiverse at once. And Sandalphon scales above them, putting him at least on higher to Verso Plus. Right? He could have ended everyone at Lucifer's rebellion with a gesture, but hesitated. Him being tortured puts the whole multiverse at risk. He wasn't hurt by being tortured for thousands of years, and his death would take so many things in the world with him. I don't think people know what it means to be a demiurge. It's like you are one with creation. You are like the second to God himself. That is just basically, is like his name alone, it speaks power, just like Yahweh. That is what it means to be a demiurge. You kill Michael, you kill the multiverse. Is as good as that. But if you kill the multiverse, you won't kill Michael, if you get what I mean. He has the demiurgic power bequeathed by God himself. It's like God just made him a diluted version of himself. When I say God, I'll say the presence, not God, because the presence and God, as far as I'm concerned, are very two different things in DC Comics. Anyways, Michael is a vessel for divine power. If he dies, there will be nothing left, which is the entire point of what his existence is. Michael's death created Lucifer's creation. He created the bedrock. The same thing with the present's creation, because God sends them to make it. Michael's essence created everything, but Lucifer shaped this energy into things, right? That's the difference between both of them. So the creation that Michael's death made is a multiverse, clearly, which is actually the same size as that of the presence, which has infinite levels to it and is insanely powerful. God's mightiest servant. He is literally made of power. Like, the demiurge is just power. He's like power manifested itself. That is who the demiurge is. That is who Michael is. And infinitely higher power than Nabu. He just transcends every other agent of God. He transcends Chaos and Order, because Nabu is one of the lords of Order. And then, bro, he's just like above them totally. Which is him being infinitely above them already just placing him around a perpetual level of power, and he's above that. Let's just be real here. He's like infinitely transcendent upon perpetual and hands and whatever new thing you see today, except from people like probably Empty Hand, the Great Darkness. No, he's not above those. But yeah, actually he is above the Empty Hand. Anyways, he gave birth to the first matter. Well, take that how you will, but that could just mean that he birthed literally the first necessary thing in creation that birthed every other thing. He's one of Yahweh's first big ideas. Yahweh made the best when he made Lucifer and Michael. Like, both of them were like his perfect creations. A spark that expands forever, an ocean of power with no shore. Their powers have no limits, literally, both of them. Yahweh made the Silver City and host of heaven just because of Lucifer and Michael, so they will not be bored. Michael kills two armed guards, angels, literally by just looking at them. He could kill the host of heaven. All these are just like casual feats. He can cast Lucifer out of heaven again. He did cast him before, which is something impressive, like to throw your brother out. Not just any brother, Lucifer. He can destroy Lucifer, which I wouldn't be surprised because he has nearly done so before without his own intentions. Both of them are seemingly relative. I think he can destroy Lucifer because Lucifer has no necessary connection to creation. But if Lucifer tries to do the same shit with Michael, he's in trouble because he will just end everything. He renews Yahweh's name on every atom of creation, moment by moment, which is insane. And he didn't even run out of power. He's not damaged by an attack that destroyed the Logos, which is where the voice of God speaks through, and the voice of God speaks through across all the infinite multiverses of creation. And there are certain things within the DC multiverses that are not native in terms of power to it, like the Logos, Lucian's library, what else? Apocalypse, New Genesis, a few other stuff. They're not native, like those things can literally destroy the multiverse if used wrongly. Even the helmet of Dr. Fate as well. When Michael bleeds, he bleeds literal power. While both were wounded, Michael hurts or possessed Lucifer while heavily holding back. And then the person, this is what I was saying, like he didn't want to hurt Lucifer, but to show he could actually destroy Lucifer. You see, Finrare, right, who took over Lucifer's body, shows how strong Finrare actually is. Like later on, I'll show scans right now of Finrare stabbing Lucifer and actually damaging Lucifer. It damaged the premium mobile, the seat of God itself. Finrare was going to destroy the Yggdrasil, which has been retconned to be a lot more powerful now. But even still, back in the day, with the totem and all that, it was still far beyond creation till literally creation was just a part of the Yggdrasil. Destroying Yggdrasil was as good as destroying the entire infinite multiverse. So it's like, or you could argue that the previous multiverse was far larger than the current multiverse. It just depends, but either way, it's still a great feat. And then Finrare taking over Lucifer's body that Lucifer could not cast him out was so impressive because just shows how strong Finrare actually is. That Lucifer, because Lucifer is a prideful person, you cannot take what belongs to Lucifer. He will either kill you, or you just have to be relative or stronger than him for him not to be able to kill you. So it's enough evidence that Lucifer shouldn't be overhyped. At the same time, Michael is not below Lucifer in any way or conceivable form. You can try to explain it. Michael even like saved his ass by almost burning Finrare out of him, and Michael's like holding back and nearly still kills him. He's like killing Michael and Finrare in one body, which is like dope. He's like killing Lucifer and Finrare together, which is like, I don't even know how to explain how powerful that is. I don't care to. I care, but like that would just take time. Michael's power, the dunamis, Demiurge, is God's power. His death would cause his power to pour out and overwhelm everything that exists. Just shows how insane this dude is. His blood poisoned Yggdrasil. Like I said, that is an insane feat. Like that is above the green back then, is above the witch queen or whatever was her name with the collective unconscious, yada yada. Okay, no, the Yggdrasil is just an aspect of the collective unconscious. Don't get it wrong. But yeah, that is still very impressive. That is as good as ending creation itself. And Lucifer got seriously damaged from Michael. Elaine, with his power, with Michael's power, unintentionally made a creation that rivals that of the presence and that of Lucifer's creation. Mazikin doesn't think she can hold off Michael for long. I mean, Mazikin is insane. I think I do need to do a video on Mazikin because people just think he's one stupid girl that follows him around. No, she's the daughter of the Lilith, and she's the strongest of the Lilith, and she's insanely powerful. You just have that in mind. He cast Lucifer from heaven during his rebellion, which was insane, and then that rebellion is the greatest battle that ever happened in creation to date. All the crisis events doesn't hold a candle. This is stated by Lucifer himself. Anyways, I have a Lucifer video, so you can actually check it down. It's actually, I think it's the best Lucifer video you can find on the platform in the community. I don't think anyone is beating it. After Lucifer videos to get a great insight on how powerful Lucifer is, and he's pretty damn powerful. Michael is extracted of Yahweh's spirit and is divine and eternal as he is. Because the presence is the abstract concept of infinite and eternal, and the Michael is that. He could have potentially unmade Golgotha and Etrigan if Golgotha wouldn't have attacked him. You know, this feat is funny because I don't even think this is like a true form of Michael for him to just like one-shot him like that. But whatever, man. Michael is pretty damn strong, but let's check out SCP-001, the Gate Guardian. He's not fodder. His bro is impressive. So what I'll do is I'll just drop the evidence of what I'm about to explain from the SCP wiki down on the screen, or I may not, but I'll link the scale the page for SCP-001 Gate Guardian if you're curious enough to go and check. But he's basically an archangel for the Almighty, and him changing behavior could be the end of everything in the multiverse. Literally, like in the multiverse. Well, he has a weapon that, quote unquote, is hotter than that of the sun. Well, the sun statement shouldn't be taken literal, as it is a hyperbole statement to just imply it is hot. And in SCP, just like Marvel and DC, the sun and earth are a big deal. Literally, earth is used to contain all these monsters. So the sun in SCP is like creation tier, which is impressive. That should be tier 0 already. What else my dude got going on here? So also he has existence erasure, which didn't work on 682, as he would just come back immune to that. But anyways, anyone with resistance to existence erasure or can cause such on a higher scale should be easily unaffected, or if you are simply stronger. And he also has limitless attack range. So it's like, dude is really impressive, right? So being able to like existence erase anything is quite interesting. Those are just hacks, but let's start getting to the really OP feat. So this feat right here is really overpowered. He has authority manipulation, in which he gives an order and then literally you must abide by such orders. It works on humans and the collective unconscious, and on the wheel of humanity in the SCP universe is extremely overpowered. But yet they have no control over the actions to take after being authorized. But what's most impressive is that he exists on a meta higher scale, which should imply the Schrodinger's cat and superposition as a quantum passive observer. As from a point in future, he tells the founder, the editor of the SCP multiverse, not even writer, to prepare for something supposedly coming as a huge threat, giving birth to the SCP Foundation itself as we know it, which includes all the top tiers we talk about and cosmological hierarchies. This speaks a lot for if truly SCP-343 is the strongest in the verse or not. But this simply is impressive, as he has authority manipulation, causality manipulation, and is the quantum observer, placing him far above linear time and also above conceptuality as a whole. Alright. Right, so as his name suggests, the Gate Guardian, weapon drawn and head bowed in front of an equally colossal gate through which a pastoral grove can be seen, along with multiple other entities that share SCP-001's description. This grove is thought to be the biblical Garden of Eden. The grove contains many fruit trees of unknown species, with 2 trees of immense size near the grove center. One of them, thought to be the tree of knowledge, appears to be an ordinary apple, an ordinary apple tree, while the other, thought to be the tree of life, bears a fruit unknown on Earth. It is capable of causing an XK class end of the world scenario, superior to the likes of SCP-343. SCP-343 is superior to the likes of SCP-343's armies, which includes the 4 horsemen. It is capable of causing an XK class end of the world scenario, superior to the likes of SCP-343's army, which includes the 4 horsemen, who all have a fraction of SCP-343's power, and SCP-682 with its true power restored, referring to the lizard, which is insanely strong. So his strength and AP, he scales easily to tier 0, scales above Scarlet King, non-true form of 682, and above every angel dark force, placing him very high up there. His speed is also irrelevant. Like, when I mean irrelevant, beyond space and time, like you cannot use any form of maths to quantify it. He's like running and being omnipresent at the same time. Anyways, so knowing how powerful these two characters are, honestly, we will look at this matchup in two ways, because this will trigger a lot of unintelligent people, and even the intelligent ones will be at all. This verdict will be in a form of equal stats, which is basically equating strength, speed, durability, and the winner will depend on abilities like hacks and hacks resistance, and the other will be the truth, as the title suggests, the brutal truth. Yo, I think some people are shooting in the background. Well, it's part of life. Michael's skills literally equal to Lucifer in power, and Lucifer's skills to a few levels into tier 0. He is weaker than Pralaya, the True Green, the Presence, the Overvoid, the Endless. I have very good Lucifer videos going over his power, and in short, Lucifer in his true form at max is nearly actually as strong as the Presence, who is in the Overvoid, but you can say it is divine presence, whatever that means. Lucifer is above the infinite multiverses on the Overvoid, which places him infinitely above Perpetua. Not infinitely above Perpetua, because like, okay, Perpetua skills to such, yes, is above her like that level, and anything shown in death metal, and he has waged the greatest war. All that has happened over the years is child's play. His first skills to an infinite transcendent tier into tier 0 at max in his true form, which you can check my Lucifer videos for better context, and Michael should scale to this if not a bit stronger. Now the Gate Guardian skills so high it is unbelievable. You heard the scaling. He scaled directly below 343, and that would scale above Michael, and Michael would just be decimated out of existence, but in an equal stats. Now wait, let me be honest here to an also point, because sometimes this thing needs serious quantification. The SCP multiverse skills quite very high. Like, I would literally place it on the same level as the DC multiverse, or a bit higher, right? But you could even argue it to be lower. But would I say he would decimate Michael? That sounds unrealistic. But with the existence ratio, he should, because 001 is like top 10 strongest in the verse, and Michael and Lucifer are likely also top 10 strongest in DC. So would I say decimate? I'll say they are sort of relative, just that the whole thing of existence ratio, and I think Michael should also have existence ratio, because 001 skills really pretty damn high into like tier 0 as well, like literally around, if not higher than the level Michael does. So I would just say like these could go either ways. Let me put it like this: if you can scale Michael, like if you can scale 001 above like infinite tier, like tier 0, and don't wank, because I don't like all this SCP stands will like just wank the verse, is like, then such would happen. If not, Michael would win the fight actually. So it could go either ways. I would leave this to the audience depending on how high you could scale 001, but Michael already has a set fixed scaling, which is already pretty high. But let's give it equal stats now. Michael has all the abilities 001 has because of being his skills above, and he has the power relative to God to do nearly anything you can think of, which means he will have negation to anything 001 wants to pull, and Michael can just out-hacks him to any degree left for the viewers to explore in their minds. But one issue is that 001 has authority manipulation, but I don't think it is a big deal if we say it is dependent upon it. I don't think it's a big deal if you say it is dependent upon inverse to see if the ability can affect another verse. Saying it works for one and not the other is disingenuous, so you all explore it in the comments. Like I said, I do think 001 could probably beat Lucifer or Michael, but just based on cosmological hierarchy. and there is nothing you can say to convince me otherwise, because the Lucifer wank is stupid and ass. I love Lucifer and made a very accurate video on how high he scaled. Anyways, if you are an honest DC fan who actually enjoyed the scaling and you aren't butthurt about your proclaimed second strongest character losing when he is barely stronger than his brothers to start with, why am I even doing this like it's Lucifer versus 001? But yeah, the skill basically the same thing, because you're going to see Lucifer second strongest. Then where would you put Michael? So it's like he's barely even stronger than his brothers, because Gabriel is also relative to them. And he isn't top 5 in DC, arguably not even top 10. But yeah, like I said, it could also go the either ways, like depend on how high you could skill both of them, because it actually seems sort of relative. That's why I added an equal stats, and with an equal stats Michael would win. So given both scenarios, let me put it like this: without the equal stats and the greater possibility of seeing the other end of the spectrum, I would likely fall back to 001. But given more consistent than not, this fight goes to Michael. I hope that was a fair verdict. Actually, I think that's a fair verdict. So I do think on a more greater scenario, Michael would win. But if I want to like give more of a strict scaling, I will give it to 001 high difficulty, extreme difficulty. So if you found this video informative, please do like, share, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.